Give it to you real quick, huh?
Get low, get lower.
Camera's rolling.
I'm wet.
I'm dripping, man.
We basically had to start all over. I mean, there was nothing else I can do. I mean, three recasts and within a month. All I filmed were, about 3 scenes. All it was reshooting those exact same scenes with different people.
On the casting posting, it said that director Eric had lost his lead actress and he was looking to replace her, and he was holding auditions, so I emailed him and said I was interested in the film, and he emailed me back.
Me and Marissa met at my office, which is a very popular coffee place.
You might have heard of it. It's called Starbucks.
I don't even drink coffee. I don't even know why I made that my office.
I had never spoken to him or in person or seen him, so I didn't know what he looked like. So I went into Starbucks thinking, okay, well, it's probably the guy who's sitting by himself at a table, waiting for someone. Can't be hard to find. So I walked in, and every table had one guy by himself sitting down. And I didn't know which one was Eric. So I just went up to the first guy and said, "Hey, are you Eric?" And he said, "No." He said no, so I walked out. I sat down at a table by myself because I was utterly embarrassed. So I was like, well, fine, I'll make him come to me. So I sat down at a table, and Eric came in and was like, "Are you Marissa?" And I was like, "Yeah." And he said, "So do you mind sitting outside?" And I was like, "Sure." So we sat outside, and I think that was my first test. I think he was testing me to see if I was going to go with the flow of, sitting outside, how I could handle the heat. So we sat outside and we ran through the scene and talked a little bit about availability and character in the film. And
from there, I told her the situation, how many times I've had to recast, what her availability is like. I mean, that was the most important one, to be honest with you. If she couldn't start within a week, or if she had some other stuff, within 3 weeks, there was no way I was going to cast her. I just had to lie to her or something. And production started running a little bit smoothlier, but not really, because the first day of production for Marissa wasn't too great. We were supposed to film a lake scene, but the location was way overpacked. More crowded than I thought it would be. So we had to cancel. We decided to continue on the next day. I wake up the next morning, and about 2 minutes later, I'm still in bed. I'm barely waking up. I'm still in bed. 2 minutes later, I get a text message, and it's from the original Landon. The original Landon. He was there for everything. So up to that point, he had to suffer through the reshoots, to the other recasts of Kylie and Isaac, and so on and so forth. And I get a text message from him, "Hey, I can't make it today, and I can't make it for the rest of the film." He ended up dropping out as well. So I was still laying there in bed, barely waking up. I grabbed the phone, called Marissa.
And Eric gives me a call and he's like, hey, hope you haven't left yet.
So, you know, I'm telling her, hey, have you left yet? She's like, actually, I'm just right down my driveway. So, first thing, I'm thinking, how long is your driveway? The second thing that pops up into my mind is, you know, how is he going to react to the bad news? So, I just flat out tell her, like, we're going to have to cancel today.
You know, we lost that lead actor. He dropped out.
And she was just very surprised, and I think she was more upset just because she wanted to be outside and acting.
And just randomly throwing out there, he's like, you know, do you know anyone?
Not even a second passes by after I asked the question. She's like,
As a matter of fact, I do. And I said, I have a friend, Joseph. He's a really great actor. He won't disappoint. Worked with him before.
and I'm like, great, just have him call me. At that point in time, I didn't care. I just wanted to start the recasting process again.
Well, I found out about the project through Marissa. She called me one morning. I was working. I ended up telling the boss, hey, I need to make a call real quick. Take a call and make a call, because she called me asking me if I'd like to be the lead in the film. She said that the previous lead had just dropped out of this film.
He said, hell yeah, I will.
So she gave me his number. I gave him a call, and we set up a meeting time and a location to meet.
I tell him about the film. I tell him about what's happened production-wise. I mean, I wasn't really up for other casting process. I mean, I was getting tired of it. Basically, I mean, after every recasting, I kept telling myself, if this happens again, I'm not going to do it anymore. But I'm just, I got a very persistent attitude, and I always talked myself into continuing on. And fortunately, that was a good thing, because I found Joseph. I asked him about his availability, and he was available for the following 2-3 weeks. From there, my eyes lit up with joy.
You know, I heard all these stories, and I'm like, poor director, jeez. All these actors backing out on him. I knew once he got me, I was like, all right, well, we're for sure making the film. I knew the actress, the lead actress, Marissa, very well, and I knew her passion for this. So I figured, we're gonna get this thing done.
This stuff happens to every production, in some sort of way. But the fact that it was just myself as the crew, as the main person, as the producer, as everything there is to make a movie was on me, was on my shoulders.
I was a little worried. I didn't know that Eric was going to have to do the editing and sound himself. Was he going to be a good editor? I mean, was he going to work with sound very well? I didn't know that, and that kind of worried me a little bit.
I was a little surprised that when I found out that he was doing everything by himself. I was like, wow, that's a lot.
Considering it's an indie film, I wasn't sure what to expect. I really wasn't sure. I knew Eric had a lot of passion for being a director. I mean, like I said, the guy has a lot of passion for it. But I didn't realize he would have to do everything else.
I was always looking for people that would like to be part of the crew, but due to such a low budget, like 80% of the people that were interested walked away. So after failing to find a crew, I went ahead and filmed how I could.
I mean, I know how to do it, so why not do it? I mean, that was my whole mentality from the beginning, and especially as the production went further.
So this guy had to do it all by himself. Eric took on quite a burden, like I said, to do this. But he put a lot of work into it, and I respect him a lot for what he's done for this film. He's been at it since the day we started.
I admire him so much for being able to do everything from filming and writing, directing, producing to editing. After that first day of filming, I knew that he had a confidence in what he was doing.
I can't say that I did everything on my own. I mean, the cast was always there. You know, the cast did stuff every once in a while. Then I had James Esposito. He was my grip for about 3 days. He was the only guy that came for more than one day, and he was the only guy that worked on days that we were filming stuff or scenes that actually appear in the film. I had a few production assistants, but they worked on days that we filmed stuff that isn't in the final film.